marriage bill if it came before his desk. I think that the advocacy now is front and center of this issue, and I think people will realize that, you know what, they were civil unionized, they were doing everything, but it's just the word marriage. I think that's what we have to get over, is the word. And I think that there will be momentum because of this, because of the review that came out and the report that came out, and the findings that there are mental health issues with the kids, that there are issues in the workforce, that still yet after 2 years doctors don't really understand in the medical profession as they come in for their health care or their hospital visitation rights. There's still confusion.
Even because it's a civil union, but you're saying if they were married,
married
it may be easier.
is a powerful word, and I think it becomes universal. I think people then understand what it is. Again, it's being separate and not equal. And I think we've come such a long way with civil rights. I mean, wives back then, we were coveted goods of our husbands. You know, we had polygamy, multiple wives. I just think this is a progression that in time, that I would hope that people understand the value of committed adults that can really have I think this strengthens family values, quite frankly.
What's the response you're getting from mayors? I know that some mayors are against doing the civil unions. I mean, overall, what's the response been?
I think they were hesitant in the beginning, and I think after they actually were performing civil unions.
Do they have to do it? Do they
no,
have
they
to?
don't.
Okay,
they don't have to do it, and
okay.
I think that becomes a religious issue as well, and that is why the Civil Marriage Act that I'm a prime sponsor of has the opt-out clause for religion.
What does that mean? That
means that if marriage is termed marriage, the churches could volunteer or opt to either marry the couple or not.
Okay.
And so there's an opt-out clause. No one is mandating, because that's the freedom of religion. No one is mandating anyone from any religious church to perform marriage. But I will tell you that there has been clergy in New Jersey performing marriages. Of course, we have our elected officials performing, civil ceremonies.
Yes,
but there are certainly some religious clergy that will perform a marriage.
What do you say to people who say that the definition of marriage is between a man and a woman?
Well, again, I say that has evolved. The concept has evolved over the years. And I think that if there are two loving adults in a relationship, committed to a relationship, I think that we should give them their fair due. We have heterosexual couples I alluded to before. They're married for a few months, they have children, they get divorced, and there's certainly many challenges. And I'm not saying that won't happen with same-sex couples, but the same-sex couples, I think, have a very strong commitment, and they should just be granted their rights, because it's a human right, just as everyone else has that right to be married. So again, it's not really, in my opinion, a gay issue. I think it's a human rights issue and a civil rights issue. And again, we've just evolved so much through the years, and I think the next generation will probably say that this is a no-brainer.
Okay, and where does the bill stand now before we go to break?
Right now, it's in committee, and I would think that after the report just came out a few days ago, I think when we go back to Trenton for a new session, a new year, I think we'll be getting some momentum on that.
Okay, great. So we have a lot to look forward to.
Yes,
so we'll be reading the papers.
Yes.
We'll be checking you out online to see where it stands.
Yes, thank you.
Great, and we're going to talk more about the great state of New Jersey when we come back, and we're going to talk about the state's new economic package that they're working on over in Trenton, and we'll talk about that right after these messages, so please stay with us. Welcome back to Cablevision's Meet the Leaders. I'm Debbie Duhame here with Assemblywoman Huttle, and we're talking about the great state of New Jersey, different things that you've been working on. You're a very busy woman, I may say. And right now, the state of New Jersey, there's a little bit of fear out there about the economy, and I know Governor Corzine has been working on the economic stimulus package. Where does it stand, and what are the components of the package?
Well, of course, it's not just the great state of New Jersey. Everyone is feeling this from the federal government across the country. But New Jersey certainly has put forth a stimulus package that I would hope and I believe that we would create jobs, and business assistance. We can talk about the transportation and the infrastructure first. There are many components of this stimulus package.
Can you create jobs then with the stimulus package? Is that the main goal?
Creating jobs and retaining businesses here in New Jersey, offering tax credits. Actually, there are a couple of components. We have legal assistance, we have heating assistance, and food assistance, which are the 3 short-term relief packages that I would hope.
How can people get help for that? Do they have to apply? How does it work?
Well, the energy assistance, for example, the HEAP programs, the Heating Energy Assistance Program, that actually, coming from Bergen County, the Bergen County Board of Social Services just received some extra funds to help families in need of heating assistance programs. So that really trickled down firsthand to people right here in the county. So that's heating assistance. Then we have legal assistance, which there is a fund created for lawyers to help assist homeowners that may be in threat of foreclosure. So there's sort of a mediation there, that if a homeowner is in threat of foreclosure, where do they go? Now they have free legal assistance because these lawyers that are tapping into the legal fund are helping these families hopefully prevent foreclosure, or at least I say it's therapy. It's helping families deal with those issues that they may be able to get assistance with. So that's very important.
And it's got to be a big fear if somebody's having trouble paying their mortgage. They've maybe missed 1 or 2 payments, and they're really in dire need of some advice, that there's a place for them to reach out to.
Yes, absolutely. And then of course there's the food assistance. I think everyone knows that our food banks are just being depleted, and how important it is, or how many people, unfortunately, here in the great state of New Jersey, and of course in an affluent county such as Bergen, believe it or not, how we need those food banks. So there's assistance for donations, for monies to bring in donations for the food banks. So those are 3 short-term packages that will help, hopefully, residents of the state of New Jersey. The other thing is the infrastructure and the Transportation Trust Fund. Usually they have, or we in the state of New Jersey, take 5 years to spend those monies from the DOT, Department of Transportation. What the governor has proposed in this package is to stimulate and front load the first 3 years. Therefore, the dollars will be spent within the first 3 years creating jobs for our infrastructure. And I think, the public works projects alone, whether they be roads and bridges or tunnels, is quite an incentive for job creation.
And this will create jobs, people working on roads, people working on all the infrastructure, on the bridges.
Statewide, countywide, and local-wide.
Yeah, here we go. We have some numbers here. Department of Transportation, $3.3 billion, creating 28,000 jobs.
That's right.
And the infrastructure, over a 3-year period.
Correct.
And then the infrastructure project, $5.1 billion, creating 43,600 jobs. Again, is that over the 3-year period as well?
That's over the 3-year period as well. And I think certainly those are great. Those are great numbers for the state of New Jersey, because if we have the infrastructure, and we are not only protecting our safe roads to keep our residents safe, but we're creating jobs.
And with people losing jobs, we've been hearing about so many companies downsizing and so many companies cutting back. This is somewhere that people give them hope as well, that they can find a job, here in the state of New Jersey as well.
And there's also some other components of this stimulus package. You're talking about people losing jobs. The governor has proposed to create jobs. If there is a business in business for at least 2 years and they have more than 5 employees, they're able now to hire a new employee and get a $3,000 credit toward that salary. So that's quite an incentive to get a new employee on board for $3,000. That business also has the same incentives to create capital investments in their businesses. So with that, yes, people are losing jobs, but this is a small step in trying to help small businesses or large businesses create jobs. So there's a lot of incentives there, and I'm hoping that people are attracted to coming into New Jersey. We just had the throw-out rule.
What is that throw-out rule all about? I've been hearing about that.
Yeah, that is if a corporation here in New Jersey, let's say it's a multi-state corporation, they're doing business in their neighboring states such as Pennsylvania or New York. Before the throw-out rule came about, which just happened a few weeks ago, they would be paying corporate taxes on the sales sales that they would make from these other states. Now, if they're headquartered in New Jersey, they will just be paying the taxes on the sales they're making in New Jersey.
So that should ease that tax burden for...
that eases a tax burden for these businesses that do multi-state, that have multi-state sales. And I think that's an excellent